What is going on, guys? Tim Russwick here again, and I figured since we started covering some PR subjects earlier in the week, we should cover some more. Actually, that would be last week as of now, but PR is something that I actually got a lot of interest in, and it's a good skill to learn because PR is essentially almost in a way it's almost learning social skills, but it's professional social skills in a way where it works out better in like specific situations, and it can kind of help you advance your game or get your game into places where otherwise it couldn't have got, or just get more exposure that way. And PR is an important part of marketing because if you don't understand PR, a lot of exposure can turn negative very quickly by the way that you interact with this. And we actually see this a lot in the game industry. If there's any famous game developers that you hear are assholes, they're probably not assholes. They probably just don't know PR that well. So today, what I wanted to talk about in PR was win-win situations. And this is something, again, that I think is it's also useful in your interpersonal relationships. It's also useful in business partnerships, and a lot of stuff where you have to work with other people. So thinking in terms of win-win is basically, if I do this thing with this other person, if I partner with them, if I get them to cover my game, whatever, we're both going to benefit from it. So if you think about what most people do, they'll send an email to a person, for example. Hey, can you cover my game? Okay, thanks. Bye. That's not a win-win. That's a win-lose. That's a one person spends a bunch of time working on something, the other person doesn't get anything out of it. So it's you gotta set things up in win-win situations. So a way to think about this too is sometimes I talk about competition, right? I have a whole video on why competition is good, which I'll link up. But essentially, if you think about someone that, let's say you have a game, right? Let's say you have an epic platformer. Let's say your unique mechanic in that epic platformer actually ended up in someone else's game. And let's say they've already released their game. Well, what if you guys partnered up in a way where they can promote your game and you can promote their game? Now, most people would be terrified by that, right? Because most people are like, I don't want my game anywhere near the competition. I don't, excuse me. I don't want, can I sue them? How do I stop them from using my idea? Or sometimes they're even like, I don't even want to, I want to pretend that person doesn't exist. I want to just push it out of my mind and pretend that this person can't, affect me in any way. But in reality, if you think in terms of win-win, you guys both have the same customers. Both of you guys, if it's a similar game, you're not actually competing against each other because the players want to play that type of game. So it's a win-win for you to work with someone like that, to set up a situation where you can cross-promote, and each other's audiences can both find out about both games, and they're going to be different, right? There's no way that two people can come up with like an identical game on their own. There's just too many different variables, too many different things. Similar concepts, sure, but not identical games. So thinking in terms of win-win, like how can I win at the same time that person wins, is really important. And most people only think about themselves. They only think, how can I win, right? And even in the more negative sense, sometimes it's like, how can I make them lose? I've seen some very bitter people in competition that lose sight of making themselves win and start to try and make them lose. And that's the death spiral. That's how you go out of business for sure. So, I mean, not just in partnerships, but we're talking about PR specifically, right? So and one of the things that I've recommended here a lot, if you check out the PR video in the Marketing 101 series or a couple other things, I talk about treating press like they're human, interacting with them before you ask something of them, right? So, for example, you might message them months before and say, "Hey, I just wanted to say I appreciate your writing. I really like this piece you did on that one game. I'm making a game similar. Like, I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome." Right? Same thing with a YouTuber or something. That goes a long way, right? Those people may not respond to you, but they'll read your email. I guarantee it. And if you're just nice like that and you're helpful, by the time it actually gets to your game, you could be like, "Hey, uh, I have this game that I've been working on for a long time, and I think you specifically would be really great for this. I think it would really help." So that's not win-win in the sort of sense where, uh, they gain something out of it, but emotional support or compliments or choosing them over others can also be a win for them, right? Like a lot of writers, they don't get paid the best. They're not celebrities. A lot of writers don't get the appreciation they deserve. Writers in like the game industry for press and stuff, they kind of get overlooked. So reaching out to them, telling them you enjoy their work. By the way, don't just use this as a tactic. Like legit, like read stuff that you like and compliment real compliments. Don't just try and like reach out to everybody, trying to fake it. That's not going to get you anywhere. But thinking outside the box and win-win can really help you out. In addition, you might want to consider some kind of win-win strategy of like, let's say you have been talking to a guy at IGN or GameSpot or something like that. What if you offered them an exclusive on the story? What if you said, "Hey, you cover this, we'll give you the exclusive on the launch for, the first week or two," or something like that. Like, that's a win-win. They get something out of it. No one else can cover your game for that time allotment. And you get something out of it. You get a ton of exposure. They'll probably run that as a highlight story, specifically because it's exclusive to them. And they promote their exclusive stories more than any other story. So you may get less exposure overall, but you'll get more exposure on the channel that you do get exposed. And then guess what's going to happen? Everybody's going to see that, and then they're going to all want to cover you in addition to that. So thinking outside the box on how the other person can win just as well as you can is really important, because we forget in life that, especially when we're so focused on our goals, we're so focused on our projects, selling our projects, especially in marketing, you can lose sight that there's a whole nother world out there without you that doesn't really care if you exist or not. So focusing on other people, trying to help them win with you, can really bring you both up. And not only that, but it makes you a very friendly dude. Like it makes people like you and respect you. I have a lot of people in the game industry specifically that I've just reached out and tried to help them before I ever asked anything from them. Some of them I've never even asked anything from them. I've just legit helped them with something. And that goes a long way. That's really, really helpful in so many different ways. I mean, it's just being a good human being, first of all. But second of all, like, they know that I'm not in this just trying to like leapfrog over them, right? They know that I'm not going to climb over their backs and just reach success at all costs. If we're going to be successful, we're going to be successful together. And knowing the trust of that, having the trust of that in some person, one person, I forget who it was, but somebody a long time ago defined trust to me as knowing without a doubt that the other person has your best interest in mind. Like, that's real trust, right? And if you think about it, if you know that someone else really truly has your best interest in mind, you're going to help them out, right? You're going to have their best interest in mind, because that's rare these days. There's not many people that you can really say, this person I know has my best interest in mind. They are not going to shit on me to get ahead. They're not going to do anything that would hurt me in any way, shape, or form, because they have my best interest in mind. That goes a long way. So win-win situations, great PR move, fantastic to build into your personality. It just makes you a good human being, honestly. So that's all I got to say about it. I hope you guys learned something today. If you did, please leave me a comment below. I always like to start a discussion on this stuff. Is there ever a time where you entered a win-lose situation and it turned out horribly? Is there ever a time that you entered a win-win situation and it turned out great? Let me know in the comments. Once again, I'm Tim Ruswick, and I will see you guys tomorrow.